Spiritual leaders and teachers and books and literature have talked about the state of being. What do you mean by being? Aren't you being? In fact, we humans are called human being. So what does it really mean? Well, no amount of words can truly describe the state of being. However, to simplify, I'm going to explain to you in a very common language. Let's say you are practicing certain sports because you wish to be the sportsman that you are. You are practicing cycling because you want to be a good cycler. You are cooking and learning various recipes because you want to be a good cook. You are doing what you're doing because eventually you want to be something that you would like to be by doing what you're doing. So, our end objective often is being what we want to be. However, what we want to be is already there. If you want to be a good human, if you want to be a good woman or a man, if you want to be an excellent businessman, if you want to be a millionaire or a billionaire or a trillionaire, it's all there in you. You've got to just be that. Do you have to fake it? No. That person is there in you. Start being that. People who are chasing and tracing spirituality by doing enormous amount of practices, they are still doing something and they yet cannot be spiritual. Imagine you're climbing a ladder to go to the top. You want to be on the top. That's why you're climbing the ladder. However, if you continue getting attached to the ladder, how are you going to be on the top? Something similar happens. The processes are so exciting, so interesting, so exhilarating that we forget to be that very individual that we always wanted to be. And we get lost in the methodologies and practices. A lot of people want to be educated. They keep educating themselves for years, and no amount of education is enough to say that I am educated. Because the more you educate yourself, the more you feel you're not, and the cycle repeats. We spend lifetimes just being in this rut, climbing the ladder and not being on the top. Being is a beautiful experience, and that experience can be gifted, can be rediscovered, can be unearthed. And that experience can be experienced anytime. When you're being, you can do it and get things done in much easier way. Does that mean that we don't have to do anything and just we have to be? No, you can certainly do things better and get things done better by being who you are. There is a difference between cooking by being a good cook and cooking in order to be a good cook. So when you're cooking by knowingness that you are already a good cook, the way you cook and the way you present would be quite different. But when you're cooking to be a good cook eventually, you're telling yourself you're not yet there. And you will experience several imperfections, and others may find out the imperfection in your cooking. Similarly, driving. Driving to be a good driver is a completely different story compared to driving by knowingness that I am a good driver. Driving by being a good driver and driving to be a good driver. If you can understand the difference, you will know that it is totally possible to rediscover that state of being. When you understand the small examples in your daily lives, you will understand the whole drive towards spirituality. Because most people who are chasing spirituality to be spiritual are the ones who just cannot be spiritual because they are busy chasing spirituality. If you continue chasing, your chase can take you to the end of the life without truly allowing you to experience what you actually wanted to experience. Be that experience. And by the virtue of being that experience, all that you can or you wish to do, you may do it. That's the secret of being. The activities, the drive, the endless chase, the futile movement, the whole restlessness, impatience subsides. Because now you know you're already that which you wanted to be. Lead an awesome life by being your best, being what you wanted to be always. Rediscover that being in you. You are that. Let's begin with radical recitations. If you want to know how to design these statements, learn Redikall, or simply sign up for a few courses and you would master the art of designing these recitations as per your individual needs. Till then, let's recite. With Redikall Consciousness, I purify my constant restlessness. With Redikall Consciousness, I purify my constant restlessness. With radical consciousness, I purify my constant restlessness. With radical consciousness, I purify my desire to be. With radical consciousness, I purify my desire to be. With radical consciousness, I purify my desire to be. With radical consciousness, I purify my need to chase something. With radical consciousness, I purify my need to chase an experience. With radical consciousness, I purify my need to chase an experience. With radical consciousness, I purify my need to chase an experience. With radical consciousness, I awaken the state of being that experience. With radical consciousness, I awaken the state of being that experience. With radical consciousness, I awaken the state of being that experience. With radical consciousness, I awaken the state of being that experience. With radical consciousness, I awaken the state of being that experience. With radical consciousness, I synchronize with the state of being. With radical consciousness, I synchronize with the state of being. With radical consciousness, I synchronize with the state of being. Be the awesome self and be the human who lives an awesome life.